you know, I need to come up with a way to stream directly from here to YouTube, so I don't have to bother uploading. I'll have to look into that. Okay, so in the aesthetics department, we made a bit of a change here to Akari. This is what I was working with previously. She had bangs and ponytail, and we decided that wasn't quite what the look we were after. So that's one nice thing about working with Blender, is it's easy to go in and modify things. So far I've punished myself a bit by keeping everything as much as possible on one layer. But I think as I go forward, as I see, you know, I'm seeing this happen where, you know, I've got all this and I got all these keyframes, and as you can see, this is the old hairstyle and there's the new hairstyle. So, you know, so there's some work to do. Where there's a lot of motion, it doesn't matter. You're gonna have to redraw it anyway. But in situations like you have here at the beginning, where you have pretty much just a single drawing, but okay, well, what I'm saying is you've got a static drawing and then there's something moving. It might be lips moving if somebody's talking, or their eyes or whatever, but in other words, most of the stuff in the picture is static, but there's stuff moving. Okay, so what happens is you draw the picture, and then presumably here, you know, you got this static picture, and in this case you got the same exact picture, just shrunk down. Okay, so if there was some stuff animated in here, the problem you're going to run into is if it's all in one layer, now you're going, oh man, I saved myself a lot of time, because this stuff I only had to draw once, and then you draw the stuff you've animated, so it creates keyframes inside that area. If you have to go in and change anything in the static part, then of course you have to do it on every single frame. That's where it makes more sense to start splitting this stuff up into layers. So what I can see is that these kinds of scenes, I mean, this one's not a great example because he does actually, his whole body does move a little bit. So I'm just trying to find, this actually is a great example. In this shot, you've got this guy seeing what's going on with these falling rocks, and then here the rocks land and poof, go poof on the ground. So the effect of the falling rock should be put in a different layer, because invariably if I don't put it in a different layer, what will happen is we'll get all the in-betweens in there to animate that falling rock, and then we'll find out that there's something about his costume that we need to change. And then I'll be cutting and pasting strokes. Now it doesn't take that long to cut and paste strokes, but it would be better to just put it in a separate layer. And I think you get what I'm saying. So now at this point, what we got to do is, this looks pretty good. We've got to go and redo this turn, and there's definitely an in-between missing. So what I'm going to do is, it looks like I've got the sticks and balls turned off, so I'm going to go ahead and crank that back up, because we're going to have to get this motion correct. I'm not going to say that I'm doing the best job in the world here with my animation, but I feel like it's okay. You know, it's okay. It's not amazing though. So we're going to try to make it amazing. So first of all, because it's early in the day, my brain is fresh. I feel like my instinct for how to make this motion look good is a little better than it might be later in the day. Okay. Yeah, you know, I'm gonna say this really isn't quite right either. And I'm not gonna turn on the onion skins. What I'm gonna do is I'm I'm just going to try to get these sticks and balls correct. If we get that right, we know the whole animation's going to look right. Okay. Now we're going to this, which is quite a few frames later. Okay, so what would really happen here? What would really happen is okay. As long as we're on 2s, I'm just going to wiggle that to create a keyframe. Okay. Boom, boom. And obviously, as we established yesterday, we're going to have to completely redo her face. And I mean, I don't even think I did her in this little segment. Her face isn't the greatest anyway. She practically looks like a boy, so it's kind of stupid, but this part's okay. Okay. So essentially it comes out. I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say that I think what I want is that's going to come out, and it's really tempting to just start drawing, but that would be stupid. Okay, now here's where she's going to start turning, so I'm just going to erase her head. The only reason I even copied the key, because pretty much her whole body needs to be redrawn now. I just copied the key so I don't have to redraw the bed. Again, a good example of where I probably should just put the bed in a different layer, actually. You know what? Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's just do the right thing. Okay. Now, I'm just going to call that bed. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all these. Actually, no. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab everything except Akari. Like that. Select linked and move those into the layer called bed. Okay. Now, if I go back one frame, of course, all the keys, or all the strokes for the bed layer are going to be everywhere. So now I'm going to delete those strokes. Wait a minute, did that work? That did not work. My bad. Alright. I needed to move them first, then delete them, so that Blender created a key. Okay, so now I've got the bed in there, and done deal. Now I'm gonna hit the star key, and yes, believe it or not, I'm going to do, and I'm going to change this to main action, just for lack of a better term. Okay, so what I'm going to do is make my eraser really big, and I'm just going to go through. Okay, see what I just did wrong? Control Z. Control Z. Okay, this bed layer has to be locked. If you don't lock it, you're gonna accidentally delete all those strokes. So now what I'm also gonna do is make it invisible. That way I'll know for sure that I did in fact delete the strokes that I wanted to get rid of. Whoops. Which did not include those. So now I'm just gonna go through and even though it's kind of dumb to do this. I'm sort of doing this for the sake of doing the right thing. And there are a few things like this as I'm going along, especially as changes are introduced. I'm kind of realizing how my workflow could improve, and the biggest thing is being a little more liberal with the use of layers. So it's worth taking a couple minutes to go through and clean up my workspace. Only a couple more to go. Probably would have been even easier to just grab some of the strokes and hit the L key to select linked. Get rid of them that way. And we got to get rid of it here as well. So this is cool. That means I can go in and add a bunch of details and to the bed, and even possibly ultimately turn it into a finished drawing, and it will be, all those details will be preserved from key to key. So okay, so now what I'm going to do is just go ahead and get my main action back on track. And the way I'm finding to do this, you know, it's good to cut and paste frames, but sometimes it's also nice to just sort of wiggle your stylus over the area you're going to draw and then go to the next keyframe and trace it. If there are a lot of, well, if there's a lot of frames where it truly doesn't change, then that policy doesn't work very well, because you can see it starts chattering. But if there's a little bit of movement, like right here with the pillow, if she moved like that, clearly the pillow would actually move, you know, it would respond to her. So no worries if there's a little bit of motion to it now. So I'm going to go ahead and just deal with the pillow. What we have is whom. So we've got an S and a C. S, C, S, C, S, C. It'll be interesting to see how this works. If it works. Okay. And this may in fact backfire. That's chattering a lot. I definitely do not like that. Nope. And we're not going to know for sure if it's okay until we've got the animation of her body where it needs to be. So unfortunately I'm kind of wasting time now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take these back out. And frankly, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this in the, okay, so I want to go back here. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put the pillow like that. Because yes, it would move, but it'd be a lot easier to make it move correctly and accurately after we have Akari's animation in there. And then just really use deformation actually to cause it to react more appropriately to what she's doing. So cool. Okay, gonna go here, and yeah, that's fine. That's gonna be highly foreshortened, but that's okay. Okay, I gotta really move quick here because I wanna keep the feeling of the motion. So I'm gonna go. That's cool. Boom, boom. Okay. I think that might be alright. And there's her ear. Might as well. I'm basically using the bright blue pencil to lay in my sketch, and then I'll use the aqua to tighten it up, which seems kind of dumb on the face of it, but since once this is blocked in, I'm going to take this blue layer and just, it's not actually a layer, it's a color. But I'm going to take that blue, the sticks and balls, and just make it really light so you can barely see it. And ultimately I may even quite literally delete it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the opportunity here to really block in her look so that there's really no mistaking. You could certainly argue that this is a process that would make more sense with the regular pencil test or the aqua, but I'm kind of giving myself an intermediate step here in a sense, I must say. So I'm basically using the blue to only block in the broad shapes, just to make sure things are where they need to be, because if this looks good, then I know it's going to work. Then I just have to get the costuming right, really. So, yep, that's fine. Okay, so she's got the big hair thing going on here. She moves. Okay, I'm not going to worry about her bangs quite yet. It's probably going to look something like that. Okay, I guess I will worry about her bangs here, I suppose. Okay. Okay, that doesn't work. We can't have it. Those two frames have to be exactly the same, or it's going to look stupid. So, this is where Blender comes in a little bit handy. I can go like this, select linked, Control C, Control V. Probably L to select linked, Control C. I'm going to say here, I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, that's cool. Alright, so okay, the A key, so we don't have a bunch of points selected, which tends to be a little create confusion. Okay. Okay, this needs to be in there. for sure. I wish that Blender would, if I'm actually scribbling, I'm touching the screen, Blender will not let me jump from frame to frame. I really wish it would. Definitely make it a little more more easier. It would make it easier to make sure that the continuity from frame to frame is good. You know, and you can have some chatter, and then when you go in and do the ink, you know, you're not repeating those lines, you're just cutting and pasting them, right? So that's probably a little too much hair there. Okay, I like this kind of stuff, is pretty cool, the interaction with the pillow kind of thing. Okay, so now we have a major problem, because all this stuff has to be gotten gone, baby. Okay, so that means here, linked, Control C, Control V. Yep, there we go. Okay, so now I'm just going to kind of see how this flows. Not too shabby. This, I actually wonder if this could be brought back up here and we just have it. Honestly, I think that might work. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and lighten this a bit so it sort of sits with the... In fact, you know what? Gosh, it's tempting to just turn it to aqua and merge those two, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and lighten this. We can see what we have here. Okay, so let's switch to the sketch and get back to... Oops. Okay, I need to darken this a little bit so I can see better what her hair is supposed to be. Okay, so now let's just go in and really tighten this up. Cool. Turn this back on. Okay, I could be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure this is going to have to be copied to the next frame. Yeah. So it's, whoop, wrong. Control C. Control V. Okay. And draw. Boink. That's coming down there like that. There's a time to hurry. Okay, so that's going to be copied. Is this locked? That should be locked. I'm inadvertently copying those strokes again. The blue, the sticks and bones blue, the dark blue, which is not a good thing. Okay, that's all got to be drawn still. So theoretically, if we take that out, unselect, okay. So I want to say that there are definitely things about this entire sequence that you out there might think it looks okay. I'm not so sure. And I may wind up rethinking the whole thing. You know, for me, if we get this to the point where we're getting near calling it finished, and I'm looking at it and saying, well, it doesn't look good enough, or it doesn't stand toe to toe with, you know, any other anime that I might watch, then scrap it, do it over, get it right. If it takes 10 attempts, I don't care. All I'm interested in is creating an entertaining anime. So, there you go. So I'm not going to worry about, well, I guess I could go ahead and deal with her arms. Right now, her arms come out. In a way, it's a little difficult because I've got so many scribble lines here that's hard to see, frankly, what's what. That's wrong. This would actually be that way, not the other way. And that arm looks way too muscular. Okay, that's better. Except it's not. And to be fair, there is a degree to which you can say, hey, this is only going to be on the screen for 2 frames. If it's not absolutely perfect, you're never going to see it. That's a judgment call. You know, where you draw the line. What kind of bothers me here is that if her hand came out from under that blanket like that, it wouldn't be back outside of it here. Oops. So, kind of want to address that in some way. I got a pretty good feel for where my sticks and balls are, so I think I'm gonna, as long as I move fairly quickly here, I can, yeah, that's cool. Get that mapped in. A lot of times it really is about moving quickly. Okay, so now the problem is obviously her head is gone. And I want to say again that we may very well be like her face through this entire sequence, especially starting here, is probably going to be, in fact, you know what? I'm gonna start doing some deleting. Because actually, when I take her face off right there, now, to me, visually, I see her. it looks like her to me. With the face that I drew, it doesn't. So let's just get rid of it, you know. We'll go in and fix it after. Okay. So this should probably be a little bit of a cheekbone thing going on. Okay, and then there she's. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and say let's. Yeah, that's better. Right about there, and her ear's gonna be there. So you gotta have a little bit of that cheekbone action going on right there. Somebody who's actually a good animator would probably have a field day with this. They'd be like telling me all kinds of stupid things I'm doing here. Okay, so actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to this color. I'm going to just check a few things, okay? And here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to say, well, this is her ear. And this is her ear. And this is her ear. Then it seems like it's a little high. Right? We want to see, okay, top of her head. Top of her head. She sort of snuggles down. But if the motion of those points works, then the motion of everything should work. Okay, so here's the cheekbone line, and it's lined right up with her ears, right? So in her case, the eyes would pretty much go there. Cheekbone, eyes. Cheekbone, eyes. Okay, so now her cheekbone and eyes are hidden. Okay, so I'm going to say probably nose, and we won't see the nose there. Okay. Cheekbone, eyes. Okay, kind of with the tops of the ears, so cheekbone. Yeah, I don't know if I like that. Because that would put her eyes there. I don't know. I feel like through there, either her nose is going to have to be changed or her eyes. I mean, or her ears, I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. Okay, what just happened there? We got the line for the nose, if you will. I'm gonna undo that because I didn't really do it right. Okay, that's cool. So then the middle of her face is gonna go there. Okay. Okay, so with that we have And with that, believe it or not, people, I'm really tempted to scrap this. The whole idea of her hands coming out is stupid. I think that's the problem. Because when you watch this, and you know, it's kind of a bummer to make a glaring mistake. Now, there might be a solution. Here. Yeah, because here's where it falls apart. Okay, is that unlocked? Yes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and erase this. Because this arm is, you know, it's under the covers. There's no reason why it would come out. This is the kind of stuff that it's like, okay, Dave, how could you be so dumb? The point here is that this hand would still be under the covers, and the whole solution is to just leave it under the covers. There's no reason her arm needs to be out. So, there you go. And this would not happen. I don't think this would happen either. It would just kind of it would actually get sort of tangled up in the blankets a little bit. Actually, so I'm thinking we do it like this. Okay. And we just need to really have a little bit more volume here on the blanket. Like that. Yeah, I like that a lot better. Okay, this, no. Okay, that makes no sense at all. Yeah, the arm would be back a little bit, but it wouldn't be back that much. Okay. Man, the blanket would be higher on her right there. Okay. And then, let's see here. Oh, it's the bed. We've got to go to the bed layer. And let's solo it. Select all. Move that a little bit. Go one frame forward. And delete. Okay. And okay, that's so backfired. Okay, sorry folks, I'm confused about what is where now. Because all of the layers are, oh, I see what's going on. There's the problem. Okay, so I want to make sure I see everything. So that's soloed. So actually what should be going on here is that creates a keyframe. Whoops. And then we go one frame forward and delete all those strokes. No. We wiggle the strokes to create a keyframe. Okay. I have no idea what just happened. Use the mouse instead of the tablet. X to kill that. Okay, I created a keyframe, and then what I intended to do was go one frame past, select all, wiggle, wiggle, delete. Now the question becomes, what's the problem? Well, the problem is that deletion needs to occur here. Okay, because she rolls over and then stays there. Okay, so now we're back on track. Probably be a good time to save our work. Fortunately, Blender's a lot better than, say, OpenTunes. Not so much Krita, but definitely OpenTunes in terms of crashing. OpenTunes crashes like constantly. It's pretty much a pathetic joke as far as software goes. Don't tell anybody I said that, but because I like using it, but man, you better save your work constantly or you will regret it. Okay, so now, yep, that feels pretty good. So I'm going to actually go back even a little bit more to really see the action. So this thing falls and then we zoom in on Krita. She's like, oh. And then she rolls over. I like that. That definitely looks better. We just got to change her hairdo and everything. So, well, how are we doing on time? 40 minutes. Yep, so this is definitely an improvement. Why don't we go ahead and tighten up. Let's make this lighter. So we just have the indicators. And then we'll tighten up these keyframes and then call it good for this session. Oh, come on. Control Z. Okay, why did that happen? Because I'm in the wrong layer. Okay. Next key. Okay. Her hand goes like this. Oops. Okay. Feels like that hand is a little large to me, so size that. We'll turn the proportional editing way down so we can just go. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Okay. Now, you darken this up again. Oh, I see. Okay. I see what I was planning. turn the size of this down a bit. Mainly because I don't want to keep zooming in. And I think, let's go back here. As long as we're cheating, let's, okay, proportional editing off. Stick it in there. Yep. Doing a slight modification compared to what my drawing was. Control V, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and foreshorten the daylights out of this. I like that a lot. Okay, and this is going to be, this needs to be something like this. You need to see her sort of kind of going like this, right? Let's go. Okay, that doesn't really work, but it serves as a bit of a guide. I don't like that. It's too, frankly, it's like too much animation. Okay, I'm going to make a slight modification here. And I think yeah, if I'm going to do it, I think what I should do is go Control C and just paste this back in. Maybe move it a little bit, but basically the idea is we're just going to have a very small amount of movement here on this key, because this is all going to happen pretty fast. Alright, so boom, that goes there. Now we begin to see her back. So we're sort of going to cheat that keyframe and say that, well, gee, it happened kind of fast. So she goes up, so the blanket sort of follows her like that, right? Yep. So she's still covered up, basically. And I'm putting this in here because I think there's going to be some sort of a sense of decoration here on the blanket. Okay. What that decoration would be, I ain't got a clue. But the basic concept here, I think, is working. Oh, I see. That needs to go there. And this. I wonder why we have... That's kind of interesting. It seems like all these keys of the bed should not be there. I think these are redundant. Yep. Okay. Okay, so again, it's interesting because you could certainly argue that this sequence, which is clearly taking by far the most time, is almost completely unnecessary. It's not really that germane to telling the story we're trying to tell. And I think that's instructive. It's interesting that the sequence that's really taking all the time and is the most difficult from an animation standpoint is really a sequence that really doesn't even need to be there. Believe me, I'm making a mental note. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that we want to be aware of and be careful. We don't waste a bunch of time on nothing, right? It's a real danger. I mean, if it really enhances the story, then it's, of course you want to do it, right? Okay, so now what I'm going to do, before I wrap up for today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go to, I've got a folder here of reference material that's kind of new. And so what I'm going to do is preview this. And these are images from, you know, other animes that we found online that I just want to look at. So clearly, yep, I see what the whole problem is with Akari. Boy, she picked out some sexy pictures. I didn't see that coming. That's funny. But you can see, number one, her eyes are too small. The way I've been drawing her, her eyes are too small. Her chin is too round. And I'm not saying we want to totally copy all these other animes, but we do want to adhere to the stylistic conventions. And at the same time, I know that basically this shot and definitely this shot are very much the look that she's wanting to see for this character. So now the obvious difference is that that character has the bangs going on. So so now this is concerning because I'm going to go all the way back to the top here. Okay, I feel like we have a major problem because her eyes are too small. So let's go ahead and make them bigger. And we're going to make them bigger. Yep, now that's better. Okay, and that's fine because that keyframe that has the bangs and stuff, we'll just leave that in there. That doesn't matter. That's going to get deleted anyway. Okay. Okay, I like that better than that, definitely. So this is just this. It's the stuff you figure out, you know. Okay, everything's cool here. Probably those guys. I wonder if their eyes are too small as well, but definitely here. You know, this is too. It's too comic booky. It's not anime. So let's just fix it. And that's my fault because my instinct, just because of my background, is always to err on the side of too much of a American comic book type of style. You know, that's just, I come from the sort of John Buscema, Frank Frazetta school of anatomy, and it gets me in trouble sometimes. Okay. So, yuck. Just get bold with it, baby. Let's just get in there and make them big. Okay. Okay, so now this is interesting. Here we could maybe get away with a little bit of a less of a change. Okay. Okay. That's actually a little too I guess thick, you might say. And again, this is another example of one of those things that goes by very, very quickly. Okay, so now there's another thing I want to modify. Yes. I can't believe some of the stuff I miss is just stupid, but you know, that's the price you pay for being stupid, I guess. Okay. Alright, that's Akari. So now I want to come back here. Now here we're getting away with it because her face is buried in the pillow. Listen to the way I talk. Her face is buried in the pillow. I sound like I'm from Michigan. Oh, that might be because I'm from Michigan. Okay, so yep. So that's way better. Okay. I'm going to take these guys out. Definitely that round chin is just nasty. Okay. Yep. Okay, and let's grab this. Linked, Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V. So much better. Okay. So, sorry to make you all wait through that. I don't know if this is really going to work. I think I'll scratch them out and redraw them. I'm scowling because she's scowling. That's what we animator types do. We tend to channel the behavior of the characters we're drawing. Now, I want to see a little bit of eyelid here. Okay, that. Why is that frame repeated? I'm guessing maybe initially I had more frames in there. Yeah. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to control, grab, select linked, control C, go to this frame. Let's go ahead and delete these. Let's just get rid of them. Control V. Okay. Yeah, better. Okay, something, that's gorgeous. Something's falling apart right here. So this is actually a great example of, yeah, because her eyebrows would never cover that much ground that quickly. So the fun thing is when it's right, you sort of know it's right. And then it's worth all the time it took, right? You know, the big bushy eyebrow thing isn't really happening. Much better. I think. At least I'm pretty sure it's much better. Okay. I'm going to go back to the top and just re-roll this. So now she's got the bigger eyes. Boom. Much better. Of course, that's all got to be modified now. Alright, I think that possibly a modification here. Well, gosh, what we're seeing here is actually her. We're seeing her hair, not her. Like this right here is not her jawline. That's actually her hair falling down. So I think for the moment I'm going to say that's fine. So does this look like this? Definitely this is not right. But what about this? She looks like she's gaining age. Because of the way that the eyes move down. In my opinion. Yeah, I don't like that at all, the way those eyes are moving down. Well, again, that's a nice thing about Blender, is you can make those kinds of modifications. Okay, with that, I'm going to stop for today. How long did we go? An hour. Okay, hour and 5 minutes. And we will continue next time.